What's happening, people? Hope you're all doing well. It is just over a week since my last fight, fought on Eternal 108 against Isaac Rendell, and a week's went by. The videos came out on YouTube. What I thought I'd do is we'll watch the video together. I'll go through it round by round, talk about a few things, basically just a review of my fight, and yeah, talk about some of the nuances of the fight, some of the things that I could have done better, some of the things that I've done quite well, and hopefully we'll get quite a good video out of this. So let's get into it. So we've got the tail of the tape here, Eternal 108. There's me and Isaac there. Significant height advantage, and I knew it coming into this that he was going to be a bit taller than me. All my opponents have been taller than me. I've been at a significant disadvantage with my height. This time round, 188 centimeters to 178, but then 198 centimeter reach. This dude had long arms. I remember at the weigh-ins looking up at him thinking, fuck, this guy's like 3 heads taller than me. But yeah, that was something I knew going into this fight. I knew that he'd be tall, I knew that he'd be rangy, and you'd like to use that range. When I was looking at video for this fight, he's a dude from TFC. TFC is a gym well known for their Muay Thai, well known for doing really well within that medium to long range, using their kicks, calf kicks, body kicks, nice long punches as well. So the game plan that me and my team devised going into this one was right from the opening bell, we had to put the pressure on. Isaac is a really, really good opponent. He's fought some of the best welterweights in the country. Just prior to this fight, he lost against someone who I think is probably one of the best prospects amateur-wise in Australia. But before then, he'd been on an absolute tear, winning against some even more good prospects. He's someone who I knew built into a fight. He's very, very tough, very durable, and if you let him take an inch, he'll take a mile from you. So we had to put it on him from the get-go. See, we're getting announced here. And at this point, I'm feeling really, really calm. It's funny here, I had to move out of the way so the ring will get out and then move back. I said, do you want to touch gloves? He went, nah, but don't let that get in the way. He was a really, really nice guy, really respectable outside of the cage beforehand at the weigh-ins, respectable inside as well. But it's all business. Straight off the bat, come out and I put that pressure on him straight away. Really, really interesting one here. As soon as he came out, again, I'm expecting someone who's a bit more of a stand-up striker, applies some Muay Thai. He came out, I cracked him with a right hand, and he straight away goes to a clinch. Didn't expect them to wrestle me up to the cage straight away, but here we are. I'd seen in a few of his fights that he had a really tough upper body clinch game. It's from all that Muay Thai. He's got a Muay Thai background. And when someone's this taller than you and they get this double underhook, it is so hard to shake them off. It's literally they're lifting your entire body up and just resting it using their height. So as soon as he wrestled me against here, I knew that I just had to stay calm. I had some overhooks here, land a few glancing knees, just really trying hard not to try and outmuscle him, because I knew I'd just get tired. So I'm staying really, really calm here. Whenever we're in these clinch positions, we want to make sure that we're trying to get better head position. And for that, it means that I need to get my head onto his chin. I start pushing against his chin here, trying to make him uncomfortable. Again, just staying calm. Can't really find a way to get my underhook in just yet because he's got that close. So just fighting for a good head position. Eventually, I find some space and force him to disconnect his hands. And now we're in this 50-50 position where he's got a underhook. I've got a strong whizzer. He lands a good knee there, but I managed to turn him around with the under over. At this point, I hear Elliot screaming to get good head position, and it's exactly what I do here. See, I land a few knees and then start fighting to get my head underneath his chin, and that's just going to help me pin him up against the cage even more, get that great head position, get a few more glancing blows here. And this don't get twisted, this is tough, okay? A lot of people will see this kind of wall wrestling against the cage and they'll think it makes for a pretty boring fight, and in some regards I do agree with that, but if you understand the nuances of just how hard it is to wrestle someone up against the cage and keep them there while doing damage. It is pretty tough. I just went over it there, but I make a really bad decision here. Got him against the cage, got good head position, landed some good knees, and for some reason I decided it's a really good idea to try and knee someone who's 6'3" in the head while I'm 5'10". Stupid decision. You can see like you knew it was gonna come. I was alone up back there. I just didn't have the height for it. Caught my kick, caught my knee and flung me off, and now I'm stuck in top half guard. From here, again, just staying really calm. There's loads of things that I want to do from here. First one is try and mitigate any damage, not let him get any damage across. He's doing a good job of sliding his shin across my forearm, so I couldn't really get my frames in properly to create space. But you can see, yeah, I want to work to shrimp out and get my hips against the cage so that I can use it to build in. At the same time, I want to try and make sure I'm getting my frames in. Frames are just, you can see here, I've got one elbow going across his head. If you've got two frames in, and if you can shrimp out and create space with your hips, that gives you the space to try and stand up. And you see here, I'm just slowly trying to get some space in there. I've got a little butterfly hook in here, and I'm just shrimping my arse out back to the cage. I eventually do that, and I slide my back leg right up to the cage fence. Now I can use that as a sort of post, and I can use my free leg here, the one that was the underhook, to push off in order to stand up. Now, in order to do that properly, I need to make sure that I'm trying to build head height. When you're in this position, you want to make sure that your head's getting higher than your opponent's head, because it just makes it easier for you to stand up, or if they've got the dominant head position, it's easier for them to put their weight on you. So I've got his hand here, start building head position and head height, and I eventually stand up and get back in the 50-50. It's a really good reversal from me there. I was quite happy with that, really calm and composed in there. He tries to change level, but I've got that underhook. I get that head position again, sorry, that overhook. Get the head position again, he's trying to pin me, and this will just show how important the head position is because I managed to turn him around again. He's looking for a knee. I managed to frame and land a lovely knee there. Go for that single leg. He makes a mistake here and just goes a little bit too low, and I managed to duck out underneath myself and bring him down. And here, I knew Isaac was really good at his turtle position. So one of the things that I worked on, and I worked on this with Tom Nolan, he's actually the one that showed me this, is when someone's in turtle position, 9 times out of 10, you see the person who's on top rush to get a hook in or to do damage. And because they rush, they end up letting the other person stand up accidentally or they end up sliding off. What Tom told me, and this is as he was prepping for his fight against Ferrasian, so it might be something that he was looking at specifically for that, was you don't necessarily have to rush to do damage or rush to get your hooks in and take the back. It's actually really beneficial for you, especially if it's sort of early in the round and they've got load, or early in the fight, should I say, and they've got loads of energy, you've got loads of energy. Instead of just going athleticism versus athleticism and just trying to force something, you actually use their momentum against them, and instead of forcing something, you just drag them back down and break their base and break their balance. And that's exactly what I do here. Tries to stand up, I break his base, got my head over his head, so it's hard for him to stand up, just like what we talked about before. Try and get a hook in. Again, just try to rush it a little bit too much, and that allows him to stand up. And I end the round on his back, landing a few knees, and there we go. So pretty even back and forth first round. At the time, I feel like I could have went either way, but when I look back at this fight more and more, because the fact I landed that cross over the top at the start of the round, which probably was the biggest amount of damage during that round, and because I then got a reversal and then managed to take him down and end up in a better position than him at the end of the round, I feel like I took that first round from him. And I heard Elliot and one of the other lads in the corner, Aiden, saying the same thing, so I was pretty confident that I took that round. Second round comes out, the exact same game plan, put the pressure on him, land a double jab cross, and this is where he starts getting his striking going a little bit. But another thing that we're working on during this camp, because he's so rangy and because he's so tricky within that sort of striking range, I needed to either be all the way out or all the way in. all the way out so he couldn't land anything on me, couldn't use his range against me, and all the way in order to land my own strikes and make it hard for him with his boxing. Because if you're the shorter person, got the shorter limbs, if you're in that boxing range, they just end up punching down on you and getting a bit overwhelmed. And that's what made him struggle to get his strikes off. You can see I'm really bouncy, maybe land a few calf kicks, but see he is trying to land his kicks and nothing's really happening for him. I duck under that right hand there, wrestle him against the cage, exactly where I want him, and we're back in this position. See, I'm fighting for that head position, really uncomfortable for him there. I think I land a few knees here, and then he does something really cool here. It's going to happen in a second. I land a good knee, and that was beautiful off him just to reverse the position, takes the center again, and starts getting off his strikes. And the aim of the game for me here is just to give him no room, but be intelligent about it. I can't just come crashing in because then I'll get caught. He had a cracking right hand. He's dropped a few people with his right hand in the past, so I had to be really careful of that. You see this next exchange here? You might just miss it, but I land a jab over the top, and when we're in that clinch range, I just land this little uppercut that you'll miss it if you're not looking for it, but I crack him with it, and it seems to get his attention. I knew that he came in with this really high guard, and when someone's got a really high guard, they're usually quite good at defending straight shots and hooks and some things down the middle and around the side. But it leaves the chin area open. So I knew that stuff up the middle would work really well. I'm not tall enough to land knees, and I'm not skilled enough in kicks to land some like teeps up there. But that little uppercut is something that we drilled, as well as some strikes to the body. See, I go for that body shot there, but it's just not there. Had a few good written body shots there. Shoot for a takedown. Another mistake off him, he goes for a switch here. But the reason why he doesn't get it is because my leg's actually too far out. Even with his long arm, you see it's fully extended. You can't really use any pulling force to get the switch. But he's quite stuck on it. And all I have to do is turn him around. He's still hung up on it here. My leg's just too far away from it to do anything with it. I was just biding my time. I knew he wasn't going to be able to get that switch. And I managed to shrug him off here. Goes to the turtle once again, instead of letting him stand up, I drag him back, sit my weight on him, and he's doing a really good job here of holding my arm with his 2-on-1 and not letting me do any damage. This is really, really smart. But another really cool thing that I picked up is when I'm in these situations, if I can't use my hands, I'll just use something else. I'll land a good knee there to the body. And that's something that I picked up when I was training with John Martin Fraser and Team Compton. He had me in this half guard position. He was on top, I was on bottom, and it was he wasn't trying to land any damage. I was doing a good job of holding his arms and getting my frames in, and then Johnny just lands this knee with his free leg out of nowhere while I'm in bottom half guard. He just throws his knee. He doesn't throw it hard, but I tell you, that knee was hurting for over a week after he landed. And it's because the shot that you don't expect, you don't see coming, and it's right into the ribs. And I actually used that for the fight before this one first against another lad, had him on side control, and he was doing a good job of getting his frames in. I kept the control of my own arms, and because I couldn't use them, I didn't want to lose position. I just started kneeing him in the ribs, and it really makes someone hustle, right? They get quite a shock from it. And it's the same with Isaac here. I land the first knee off the camera, think about getting a hook in, decide it's not worth the effort. So I come around the side again and I land another knee. Doesn't look like there's anything in it, but straight away he's up. Doesn't want anything to do with them. We're in this weird position here. He's trying to break my arm, my hand position, takes a knee, comes up again. And these little knees to the legs don't look like a lot, but over time they build up. Gets a Kimura lock here. Not too worried about that. Thing is, if someone gets something like that, a Kimura lock, all that you got to do is straighten your arm out. So he reverses the position, gets the center again, and he starts working. So he's striking. He started getting some success with his calf kicks, but in this little close range exchange here, I just made sure that I won that exchange. And that was another thing we talked about is in these striking exchanges, even if you start to get some success, just make sure that that I'm always last. I'm always trying to win every little moment. And that's exactly what happened there. Gets his clinch, and he makes another mistake. He goes for this outside trip, but the problem is the reason why he didn't get it is that he tries to trip me on the wrong side. He trips me when he's got an underhook on that side, and he's actually got an overhook here. And because of that, I can use my underhook to sort of use his own momentum against him. And that's when I get my own takedown. Go into this position against the cage. I'm just sitting my hips on him, sitting my weight on him, not letting him build any head height. Land a few glancing blows. Quite content with just trying to let him work here, let him waste some energy. Again, he's done a good job of trying to hold my arms, but it's sort of at the expense of being able to create space itself. If you're using your hands to hold me and not let me do any damage, then you can't use them arms to then build up. So I've got these back here, slide one hook in, just about to fall off, so I'll go back down to his hips, slide my other hook in, and it was just before the round ended. Give it another minute or 2 minutes, who knows what could have happened. I could have flattened him out, he could have got up and stood up, but really good position to end the round in. Dominant second round off me, didn't really have any doubts that I'd won that one. Last round, we'll come out, sort of got the mentality that, yeah, probably won the first two, but you know how judging works, the first one could have went either way. So I did come out with the intention of, I guess, putting it on him a little bit again. And this is a frustrating round. You'll understand why. I actually start getting my striking going quite well. Start putting my jab out there, jab to the body, overhand to the head, and wobbles him a little bit. Jab him again. I'm just a little bit more settled. I know what to expect. I've got his timing right. And this is what I really want to start doing from the get-go. I've got good boxing. I've got a great jab. I landed 3 times in a row here. There's two. And then I just get a little bit too aggressive. That's a good calf kick. I'm marching forward and he shoots and I just managed to sprawl it, which is great off me, but I make a mistake here. You can see that in this position, I've got two overhooks. I've got one overhook under this armpit and I've got the other overhook over the other armpit. The problem with that is that a lot of my weight is sort of in the middle of his back and his head's able to come up here. I'm also not on off my knees and not on my toes, so the weight that is on him isn't even my full weight. What you want when you've got this sort of front headlock, I guess it's not even a front headlock here, it's just a sprawled out position. You want to be on your toes to drive all your weight into him. What I should have done was release one of these overhooks and bring it across under his chin, and that would have pinned his head down, not letting him build head height, and it would have made it a hell of a lot harder for him to stand up. But silly little mistake. He managed to stand up, got these double unders again, and he goes for this outside trip with the both underhooks this time. I switch off for a split second, and he manages to take me down. And this was really frustrating. Again, just a stupid mistake from me, something that I work on, and I end up in his full guard, right up against the cage. Not ideal, and this is where we spend the rest of the fight. Now, in this position, what am I looking for? Well, I can't have my feet crossed. Got my feet crossed, that just means I'm letting them hold this position. I want to try and open up my feet, I want to try and shrimp, get my hips away up to the cage and try and create some space. I want to put my feet on his hips, try and push him away, but again, he's just done a really good job of holding me down here. Now, the frustrating thing is that him himself wasn't trying to improve position. Maybe he had the same thing in his head where he thought that first round was quite close and he thought that he took it. And so he's not really trying to do damage here. He's just holding it. He gets a few glancing strikes off, but I do a good job of stopping him from doing anything massive, sort of pushing my hand into his armpit. So none of these strikes really land with much force. But just frustrating from me looking at this back end. You see he's doing a really good job here of shelving my own leg with his leg. And because he's so tall and because his limbs are so long, it makes it doubly hard for me to try and create space. Now, what I should have done, and I did it a little bit too late, is try and shrimp out and pass my head over to the other side and probably get some frames in and pass my head over to the other side. What that'll do, as you can see here, is actually create a split second of space. It forces him to adjust, which creates that space, and that would in turn let me try and get my feet on his hips, try and shrimp out a little bit more, explode. But I just do it once after hearing Elliot shouting it. He's forced to readjust, and he does it really, really well, to be fair to him, and we're stuck back in here. At this point, I'm sort of thinking to myself, okay, do I want to use loads and loads of energy and potentially stand up and be a bit exhausted, or do I want to stay here? I did try and stand up. I did try to settle for getting my feet on his hips, but he was just good at holding this position. I can't really say anything else. I just need to be better. Again, I could have probably kicked this leg back and positioned it up on the cage to try and stand up. I get a nice underhook here, don't really do anything with it. I could have been more dangerous in my guard, getting my foot onto his elbow crease when I had that hand on his wrist. But I saw Self just landing a few silly heel kicks to his bum. And yeah, the round ends really soon. You can see I'm just a bit frustrated here. Start landing little glancing shots on the floor, but they're not really doing anything. And yeah, that's pretty much the fight. Now, when the scorecards were getting announced, like I said, I do look, and I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know whether the judges were going to give it to me. I thought I deserved it after the first two rounds, but honestly, it wasn't decisive enough. Where if they did give it him, I wouldn't have been arguing about it. But yeah, you can see I'm pretty happy about the win. So that's the fight. Hope you guys enjoyed this little analysis. What's next? I'm not entirely too sure just yet. Hopefully, get another fight in before the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. If you learn anything from this, if you want to continue following the journey, give me a little subscribe. And yeah, more videos to follow. I'll see you very soon.